All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Saturday morning, December 18th, 2021. Hope everybody is enjoying their weekend off. Let's see who we have in the chat here. Good morning, Jess. Good morning, Bonnie. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, John. Good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, Sherry. I think that's about it. So I hope you guys are all having a good morning. Just something I've been thinking about lately. This is the time of year. Let me change my background too. I don't like that background. Hold on. I'll change that. Well, I guess I can't. It's on my OBS. Hold on a second. I got to change this. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Been thinking the last couple of days that this is the time of year that normally my friends and I will go out and go coyote hunting. So I thought we'd talk about coyote hunting today, and what we use those for. And then I'm hopefully going to make a planned trip to Henry's Fork Island Park, Idaho, to go ice fishing this winter. So I want to talk about that a little bit and the trout fishing that they have available there. So those are the two topics that we'll hit today. I know some of you out there may or may not have ever been coyote hunting. And so I thought I would share some videos with you today to show you kind of how some people do it. There's trapping involved. Some people will trap them with steel traps. Me and my friends, we just go out with a rifle, and I'll show you how we do that. I'm just curious if anybody's ever shot a coyote with a bow, because that is probably, in my opinion, one of the hardest things you could possibly do, because coyotes are so smart. They're so skittish. They're more of a long shot, in my opinion. They're kind of like antelope. They are just, they're, the coyote is the most skeptic animal in the woods, in the wild. He is so skeptical about every sound, noise, smell. He don't stick around long. At least the ones that I mostly deal with. So let me break out this video real quick. Pull my headphones off so you guys can hear it. I'll up the link. You guys can come up and make comments, ask questions. Let me refresh this real quick. All right. Hopefully you can still hear me. Let me pull this video up. Share screen. Okay, you guys will have to tell me in the chat if you can hear the volume of this video. I always seem to have problems doing this, so we'll take a look at this and we'll watch some coyote hunting. Can you guys hear that? Give me a thumbs up.
Which one? Back one? Yep, got him. Come on. Woo! Go to the... Huh?
All right. That's a little bit of the coyote hunt. So I wanted to explain a few things to you guys about it. When I go out, me and my friends go out with technology nowadays. They have these cool little speakers set up on a tripod, and it's got different sounds. Usually comes with a fob remote, so you can sit away from it, or sometimes I don't know, set it behind you so that the coyotes will come in closer to the sound. If you set it out in front of you, sometimes those things have a hard time. They're just so skittish. You could see at first they come running in, and then they get skeptical about things. The first shot, I'm surprised they got a second shot off, because once they hear a gunshot, they're gone. They don't stick around for very long. But the little speaker, the little sound recorder that we use, will usually have like a rabbit call on it, like a squealing rabbit, a rabbit that's been injured or caught in a trap. That one works really well because they squeal. They have such a high pitched squeal, it really draws the coyotes in. We use howls, but not very often. I probably use the rabbit squeal more than anything. Um, and those coyotes, they can hear from hell, I don't know, probably damn near a mile away. It's they have really good hearing. So when they come in, it's usually a pretty quick deal. You don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time to set up and wait. You don't want to move. You can see that they're sitting in the snow. They're all camoed out because coyotes have pretty keen eyesight and smell and hearing. Um, you got to be careful on the whole whispering thing because they can hear that. But anyway, some people hunt coyotes for sport. Nobody eats them, obviously. Um, some people hunt the coyotes because they can be a complete nuisance around your property, getting into your hen house, killing your domestic dogs and cats. Um, a few coyotes around is not a bad, in my opinion, not a bad thing, uh, because they hunt ground squirrels and gophers. So I don't believe in wiping everything out because everything has a place. It has a meaning in nature. So you really can mess up your ecosystem if you go out there and just wipe everything out. But some people they definitely hunt them for sport. That's usually what we do around here. We hunt them for sport and to try to make sure that we manage the population so they don't get out of control. Now, some people, a lot of people around here, they will they'll skin them and sell their pelts. They're not really worth a whole lot anymore. They used to, I don't know. I think when I was a kid, I think you get 25, maybe $30 a pelt for them. Maybe less than that. Maybe it's more like 10 or 15, but they're not anything that you're going to make a good living off of if you go out coyote hunting all winter, but they might pay for some of your gas or the shells, the ammunition that you've used up. I don't know. How do you guys feel about coyote hunting? I know it's nothing that we hunt and throw in our freezer, so it's not necessarily um, a necessity hunt. It's not that you're trying to feed your family. It's more of a sport hunt or a controlled hunt to control their population. And like I said, they'll definitely get in your hen house. They'll take your cats. They'll take your dogs. I've seen some pretty vicious videos of coyote attacks on dogs, domestic dogs that are out late at night, and the coyotes come in. Usually they'll use a female who's in heat to draw out typically the male dogs on your property. The male dogs will kind of wander off, smelling her. They get out there, and then boom, it's an ambush from the rest of the coyotes, and there's nothing, and I mean nothing left of your dog. So it's unfortunate. It happens. It's just part of nature. So the best way to defend yourself against something like that is just get good at coyote hunting or trapping, and or have people come in on your property to take care of that so that you don't have that problem. Do they attack humans? Yes. I wouldn't say it's a normal thing. It happens every great once in a while. I've heard of people whose vehicles have broke down out on the highway or somewhere, and they have to walk, back into town late at night, and the coyotes have come in on them. I've heard of coyotes attacking kids, in the backyard, but I don't believe that coyotes are a threat to humans. I've been out in the woods late at night hunting and having to walk back to my truck, and I've had coyotes all around me, and I've never had any problem with them coming in too close. Like I said, they're pretty skittish. They're pretty smart, and once you once they know that you're a hunter, I really don't think that you're gonna have too much problems with them. They're afraid of everything. It seems like most of the time. So there's a link. If you guys want to call in, we can talk about it. we could talk about any type of hunting that you enjoy doing in the wintertime. There's rabbit hunting that we do in the wintertime, coyote hunting. We talked last time about hog hunting and mountain lion hunting that should be kicking off here next month. So hunting lions here in Idaho, a little bit west of me here, is something that will kick off here in another few weeks. Um, there are some late hunts going on right now as far as deer and elk, muzzle loading, muzzle load hunting here in Idaho, and then I think they have a late archery too. So, um, do you have kai wolves in your area, Nancy? Sounds like a crossbreed to me. I'm not aware of any crossbreeds here where I live. I've seen one here in Lake Travis, Texas area. Really, wow. I guess anything's possible. I know that whitetail and mule deer crossbreed, so I don't see why coyotes and wolves wouldn't possibly have that opportunity as well. So I don't know. What kind of hunting do you guys like to do in the wintertime? Do you guys do any hunting in the wintertime? I know John, uh, yeah, coyote hunting is conservation. All good hunters know this. Um, if you want to jump up here, John, you can. We can talk about it. Coyotes can be very destructive, and they can, man, they can wreak havoc on things. But the worst out of all the dogs that I am familiar with and I deal with here in Idaho are the damn wolves. Um, the wolves are they're freaking horrible. That's all. I know I've talked about it on the show lots of times. Wolves here in Idaho are about the only thing I'm scared of when I'm in the woods. I'll admit it. When I'm in the woods, especially after the sun goes down, if I don't have protection, I'm not I'm not feeling very comfortable. I've been broke down on mountaintop with no sidearm, no rifle, not even a damn knife, in the middle of two wolf packs. And since they introduced the wolf here in Idaho in 1995, reintroduced it. They brought in a wolf that's not native to Idaho. Came from Alaska, and that thing is so massive. They are as big as a man. Okay, um, and they're vicious. I know everybody loves the little photos that they have on their wall, the little pictures that they have. Good morning, John. The little pictures that they have of the wolf, the spiritual wolf on the wall, and they see videos of the nice cuddly wolf. But I'm here to tell you, they're not. They're not that friendly. Um, and the elk herds right here in my area. I have 3 units. I usually hunt elk. They've completely wiped them out. We used to have elk herds when I was in high school, 300 plus, and now you're lucky if you see 65. So conservation of the wolf, conservation of the coyote, it's definitely something that you got to pay attention to and keep up on. Right, John.
Morning, Mike. Yeah, that's right. Although we don't have wolves like you guys do down here in Louisiana, we do have, like many places, an abundance of coyotes. And like I was telling you in chat, the being a good conservationist is a must for anyone that hunts, because we have to keep a balance of everything, especially predators, because they will overtake the other species and wipe them out. And the coyotes just cause a lot of problems.
What kind of problems in Louisiana do they cause for you?
Well, for me, I turkey hunt, um, and I hunt other game like deer. And turkey hunting is just one of the predators that get hammered hard by coyotes. There's other ones, foxes and bobcats
Mm-hmm.
or another. But down here, it's a lot of people tell me it's the fawns that get taken out
Yeah.
by the coyotes.
Well, to comment further on that, I've seen it with my own eyes. So, wolves, bears, they're the type of predator that they can take down. A pack of wolves can take down a deer, or they can take down an elk.
Mhm.
Bears can take down big game animals like that by themselves. The coyote is a little different. They're more of an opportunist, right? So they're a scavenger. If something, say, has been hit by a car, and it's got broken hind legs, that's an opportunity for them. But the big one here is not only deer fawns and elk calves, but we also have a lot of cattle here, a lot of ranches, and I've seen the coyotes come in. They'll sit. I've seen this with my own eyes. They sit as a heifer is giving birth to a calf,
And
and they sit and they wait. And I've seen coyotes go up as quick as the calf isn't even hit the ground yet, and they're already tearing into it as it's coming out of the birth canal. And then as soon as it hits the ground, two or three of them drag that calf off. Of course, the mother tries to protect the calf, but is not always successful. So that financially, you figure one of those calves is worth at least $1,400 for a rancher. So, depending on how many calves he uses during calving season, that could be a pretty big financial hit to him. So, when I was in high school and out of high school, early out of high school, I used to cowboy, and that used to be our jobs. I'd ride out late at night in the truck with a spotlight, and if I found heifers um, in contractions, I'd bring them into the barn and to keep the calves safe. So it's definitely a conservationist thing that you have to manage everything around you, or like you said, they get out of control, and then next thing you know, everything's gone.
well, you also know that wild hogs are a huge problem, and they're really a big problem in the South, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. I mean, all the way across in the South. I mean, they're really bad, and they can do damage too.
Yep.
And
I've
they do
seen I've
damage.
I've seen videos where hogs have actually tore up airports,
Yeah,
runways. And I'm not talking about an airport like Los Angeles
yeah,
or
right.
Salt Lake, but some of these little rural airports that have dirt runways and stuff like that. Yeah, they tear them up. They can ruin them pretty good.
Well, in Louisiana, there in certain parts of the state there is agricultural spraying by aircraft, and a lot of their runways are hard dirt. They're not concrete at all. They're just hard dirt, and you get a bunch of hogs go rooting through an airfield. Yeah, they'll tear it up.
Absolutely.
They
So
can
how do
cause
you
a problem.
guys hunt coyotes there in Louisiana?
Some people I know that hunt them kind of do what you just showed in the video. I've never been on a hunt like that. I've watched many videos before like that, and it's pretty interesting. But I honestly can't tell you I know one coyote hunter here. What we do is normally we put coyotes at the top of the list if we're on the deer stand. If we're on a deer stand and a coyote comes out, our deer hunt's off because we're taking that coyote out. That's
Hmm.
just the way it is
Hmm.
because we know.
Yeah.
We know what they can do, and yeah, the coyotes do follow deer and cows around. They can smell them. They know when they're
Mhm.
about to give birth, and
Yep.
they just wait. That's all they have to do.
Yep.
They show up in numbers, and the mother cannot defend off a pack of coyotes. Can't do it.
No. But again, like I said, you don't want to just wipe the whole clan out either, because you need the coyotes to keep the rabbit population down, to keep the gopher and the ground squirrel population down too. So they do have a benefit to the ecosystem and to our lives. Problem is if you get too many of them, um, it goes the other direction. So
Well, I mean, like down here, you could make a concerted effort to take out coyotes, and you're not going to put a dent in them. They're just too crafty.
wow,
They're
wow,
just too crafty. I mean, you know that. And look how many pups they have. And when they drop a litter, almost all the pups survive. I mean, their mortality rate is low, so they don't have many predators. You
no.
know, so I mean, it's going to be really hard to wipe out something like a coyote. You know,
Yeah, I know some guys start going to blinds. The problem with blinds is it's hard to see all the way around you, and those coyotes, you just never know what direction they're going to come from. So some guys go to blinds. Nobody around here uses tree stands, but what a good idea that would be. Usually we just try to call them in. We just try to call them in and take your shot as soon as you got one. Like I said, you don't have much time. Once they're crafty, like you said, once they come in and they realize something ain't right, they don't stick around long. They turn tail and run, and they don't stop. I was shocked to see the second shot that the coyote stopped broadside and looked back as he whistled at him, and then they got the second dog. But man, usually when they hear that first shot, they're gone.
right? I think that's what I would do if I ever decided to coyote hunt. I'd get in a box stand and out in the right of way or at the end of a food plot, I would set up, a calling device for them and, you know, try that. Looks like a lot of fun. You really got to be on your toes. You got to be ready.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I mean, you're out in nature, okay? So that's the biggest positive there is you're outside. Yeah, it can be cold. They're sitting in the snow. So it's not the most comfortable hunt that you can do.
Mhm.
You're not going to hunt a coyote from the window of your Chevy pickup with the heater blasting. So you're going to be out in the cold, you're going to be out in the snow. Um, and then you're sitting there and sometimes you got to have some patience, man. It takes a while before those things will come in. I've sat as long as usually um, we can get a little bit of action within about 20 to 40 minutes. I've sat there as long as an hour and then I'll get up and move position. But if you know where there is a coyote den and you've been doing it long enough, you kind of know where to go. So if you set up in the right spot, usually within 20 minutes, you can get at least one to come in.
Right.
And your skills have got to be really good on the shot because they don't give you a second shot. So so if you're one of those that takes 3 or 4 shots to take something down, it's coyote hunting is not going to be something that you're going to be good at the beginning. You can practice at it for sure. I saw Bonnie put in there. Nobody believes that I saw a black panther. Black panthers are all they are is a mountain lion. They're a cougar that is born with a black pelt. I think they have them down in Florida. Do you guys have any? And I think some of them even changed the name to Puma, right, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Those
Uh,
are native of Asia. They're not, that's really not a black panther. If it was anything, it would be what is the word for, there's a word for an animal that's black, that's, because you see black coyotes sometimes.
yeah.
That
Well, you got albinos that are all
got
white. I've
albinos, right?
I've seen albino elk here in Idaho and
Yeah,
Wyoming and albino buffalo, but I think there is the reverse of that, which is all black. Black wolves, black coyotes.
yeah.
I thought they had some of those black ones down there in Florida.
I've never seen any pictures of anything like that. I've seen a
Really?
lot of Photoshop pictures, but you know, it's I would love to see one. That would be incredible. But
I've never seen one.
no,
I just thought they had some down in Florida. I thought.
yeah, they do have Florida Panthers, but I don't know if they have any that are black. But I've seen black coyotes on my lease, before, and I was like in awe. As a matter of fact, it was 4 of them that came out, and 2 of the 4 were black, and I just sat there, and they were a ways off. And of course, I picked my rifle up, and then when I clicked the safety off, boom, they were gone.
Yep.
Because I clicked it a little too loud. I just threw it out the window and click, and they looked up at me, and that was it.
They don't
I was going to
stick
shoot
around.
one of the black ones.
They don't stick around. They do not stick around. They,
And
like
Mike,
I said,
this was 60 yards away, and they heard that.
they got really good hearing.
Yeah.
So what kind of hunting are you? What's your next hunt there, John? Are you done for the season, or do you have something coming up?
Mike, I'm looking at my weather station sitting here on my desk, and currently where I'm at, it's 78 degrees and 88% humidity. This is why I'm talking to you right now, and I'm not in the deer stand. I go in the woods this morning. You're going to get eaten up by mosquitoes. It's too hot. The deer will still move, but it's more of, an inconvenience hunting in the heat.
Holy cow. So how long does your deer season last?
To the end of January.
Okay, so you got some time.
Yeah, we got time.
Does it ever really cool off there in Louisiana?
Yeah, it does. And we have a front coming after today where the temps are going to get back down, in the 40s for the lows, or something like that. And, the humidity drops out, and then it's a lot easier to get out there and hunt. It's just easier on you. And the rut is about to start in my area within the next week or so, the major rut.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go, I'm going to go either way, but, I bide my time when it's hot. But when it's major rut period for me, I'm going to go regardless. I just have to stick it out,
Gotcha. And then do you have spring turkey there in Louisiana?
We do. That's in May.
That's in May. Ours starts April the 15th.
Mm-hmm. It may be April. They change it every now and then. And the plot of land that I hunt isn't very large, so you may or may not have turkey on it, at that time. So what I'll do is go down there and just look and scout around for turkey. And if I see some in the area, then I'll go make a hunt. If not, I'll go hunt somewhere else. It's hard to find a place to turkey hunt. You pretty much have to know somebody with land and, get invited, because there are a lot of turkey hunters down here.
Turkey hunting's getting to be very, very popular here in Idaho too. It has been for quite a while, but I mean, more and more people are getting involved in it. And I got a friend who watches the show. He's got turkeys all over his property. That's probably where I'm going to go this spring is head out there and turkey hunt out there. I'm going to try to turkey hunt with a bow. I don't know. I'm hoping to be skilled enough to at least try come this spring. We'll see. We'll see how that all plays out. But we got, like I said, last show, we have lion hunting about this time of year. Lions, bobcats, trapping season has started. Coyote hunting, and then spring brings spring bear and spring turkey. You guys do any bear hunting there in Louisiana?
No, the Wildlife and Fisheries several years ago started placing the black bear back in our state. In some areas, they're a little too many, and they've taken off really well. So I'm thinking anytime now they're going to start having lottery hunts or something, for black bear, because they've really taken off. In some places, they're a nuisance.
Yeah,
already, but well, what a bear will do to someone's feeder and food plot.
Yeah, they dig too. They're like a hog. They'll dig, they'll root. The biggest problem that we have with them is they get in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Bears are lazy. They are a lazy animal. They're an opportunist too. So if I have to go out and catch a doe or go dig in this trash can, they're going to go the easiest route, which is digging the trash can.
So do you guys have? I mean, how many bears can be taken in your state or county, or what? How does that work?
Well, I think right now it's you buy a tag, you can hunt them. I don't think that they have a restriction on that yet. And where I live here in Idaho is probably one of the best and most populated bear areas in Idaho. A lot of people come here in the spring to hunt bears. A lot of people with dogs, probably most of them with dogs. There's actually an area that I drive through that is east of me here, and during bear season, um, it's like a village up there. There's so many hunters up there and dogs, and they're just a howling the whole damn time. It's pretty annoying. And they're all over the roads. They're everywhere. So it's a pretty big area for bear hunting here. And we
That's
just have
black
a lot.
bear.
Yeah,
That's
we have a
black
lot
bear.
of black bear. A lot of
Mhm.
black bear.
What else do you have? What other bear is up there?
Well, the black bear, I've seen cinnamon coloreds here. I've seen brown. Now it's been reported around here that people have seen grizzlies here or there. There are grizzlies here in Idaho, but it's more northern Idaho, northeast Idaho, on the Montana Wyoming border, where Yellowstone is. Yellowstone crosses into Idaho too, so I know that there are grizzlies there, and some of them, they do migrate. They do kind of venture out, so it's not uncommon for them to come here in Idaho. Now, here where I'm at, I've never seen one, but I've heard somebody say that they spotted a sow and a couple of cubs. That's about, well, it would be northwest of me here, and it's an area that I've hunted several times in my life, and they claim that they spotted one there. So I don't know.
Hmm. You were talking about back on coyotes. One of the problems that we have down in our cities, like even New Orleans, they have a lot of coyotes in New Orleans,
Mhm.
in the city. And
Yeah, they come right into your backyard.
oh
They
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They are very skittish, but the problem is they're also brave. So I've seen them run through subdivisions, and that's what I talk about, kids getting attacked in the backyard.
Yeah,
It's not just a rule thing. It can very well, like you said, be right there in the city, and you're like, what the heck was that? Well, that was a
yeah,
coyote.
yep. Well, it's like, I mean, not too many people are shooting at them in the city.
No. No, and by the time you see one in the city, one, you're shocked to even see one, and two, by the time you even think about doing anything, they're already gone anyway.
Yeah, we had one over here in Baton Rouge. Not one. They had a neighborhood that my business serves. Some houses in there, and they were having some animals coming up missing. And they were, like neighborhoods, they post signs and do neighborhood watch, and then one day my crew showed up over there to service a yard, and we found half a chihuahua in someone's yard, a half a chihuahua eaten. And when I saw that, I went to the homeowner. It wasn't his dog; it was someone else's that was missing a dog. And he of course, he was upset about it. And I looked at it and I told him immediately. I said, "You have coyotes here. You need to call the wildlife and fisheries, and you need to get them out here to set trouts." He said, "It's because they're not going to leave." And in that neighborhood, they had a lot of cats.
Yep.
Like most neighborhoods, you have cats,
Mhm.
and some people let their dogs just run, and that's going to happen. You know, or you can simply let your dog out in your own backyard, which is fenced in. Well, a coyote can jump right over a fence,
Mhm.
and he'll get your dog or cat or whatever. He's gone, and that's what was happening. And they wound up getting the some help in there to trap some of the animals. And I never did find out how many they got or what they did, but yeah, it was pretty gruesome. You got to take care of your pets because when you live in an area that you even think you have coyotes, You might ought to keep an eye on them, right?
Yeah, well, when you start hearing a lot of people saying their cats and their dogs are missing, that to me is definitely a flag that
Hmm.
you might have a coyote problem because they're opportunists, man. If they can come in and grab a cat off the porch or something like that, that's what they're gonna do. My friend Skip lost a dog. He had a little miniature uh, pincher, little
Yep.
miniature dog. He let him out one night and he heard something and he come running out the front door and he saw a mountain lion had his dog in the jaws and took off. They eventually caught the damn thing, days later, but the dog obviously didn't survive. But the cat came right into his, and he lives in a rural area. I mean, he lives way out in the country. But he's lost so many animals out there to the wildlife. He's got a bear problem now that he wants me to come in and help him out with. The bears are getting his calves. So, um, you
What are
know,
your
it
what are your guys' laws on animals coming into your property, home? I mean, are they fair game to take them out? I mean, will you get in trouble for shooting them, or how does that work? With coyotes, or not coyotes necessarily, but just say a bear comes in. Bear, like you said, y'all hunt bears. You have to have a permit, I'm sure, to hunt bears
yeah.
in mountain lion. But what if you don't have a permit and you like your friend, he had that mountain lion come in his yard? I mean, legally, can he defend his property? Or
That's a good question. I'm the type of person that I'll shoot first, ask questions
yeah,
later.
me too.
If if a predator's in my on my property, taking the life of my dog or cow or horse or whatever, I'm gonna shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go in and call the fish and this is me personally. I'm not gonna take the time to go in and call fish and game or 911 and ask permission
Hmm.
as the animal is out there taking my horse down or my colt down or my calf down or my dog or anything like that. It just doesn't even make any
Right.
sense to me to even do that. Um, but I'm not a big fan of government or any of that stuff. And I know of stories where somebody has gone out, protected themselves or their property, and then of course, the feds come in
They
and
got
oh
to.
well, you didn't have a permit, you didn't this, you didn't that, and they get ticketed and they lose their hunting license or what a bunch of horse shit, to be
It
honest with
is.
you.
That's why
Uh,
I asked that, because
yeah,
I've known that to happen, seen it.
yeah.
You
It's
know.
kind of like if you can prove that they were on your property destroying or killing things, let it be. Let it be. Now, if they, went, 2 miles up the dirt road and killed something and drug it back to their house and it's out of season, then I would say they're probably in the wrong. But if it's right there in the yard, I mean, come on, that just doesn't make any sense to me. But I think here, and it really just depends on the wardens that you have and how they think and how they process through things. Some of them are there to make a name for themselves. Some of them want to work with the community, so they're not all bad.
That's
um,
right.
I know Skip's just been losing quite a few animals out there and over the years, so he should have a right to protect his stuff.
Absolutely. Um, there was a friend of mine had a sick coyote in his neighborhood, and he did call the wildlife and fisheries instead of doing it himself. The animal was in the corner of his yard. He was sick. He was dying. And he said, "Man, I ought to shoot that thing." He says, "Well, I'm in a residential neighborhood. If I crack a gun out, they're probably going to get mad at me because the animal's not threatening me." And so he called the wildlife and fisheries, and they came out and dispatched the animal. And the agent told him, he said, "You could have done this yourself if you wanted to." He said, "We'd have been all right with it." He said, "Well, you tell me that now, but what if I'd have done that? And then somebody would have called the cops on me, you know?"
Yep.
And that guy
Yep.
said, "Yeah, some of the police have a different opinion than the wildlife and fisheries. You know, Wildlife and fisheries, like, well, looks like you took care of it, no problem. You know,
Yep.
so
That's
That's
kind of
why.
like it's kind of like when you're traveling down the road and you hit an animal, and I don't like any animal to suffer.
No,
I know people that have hit them with their vehicles and got out and did the humane thing and then got in trouble for doing it.
that's right.
It's like, okay, the animal is sitting here suffering, it can't even breathe, because the lungs are filling up. I won't go into too much detail,
Yeah,
but I
I
guess
know.
you catch my
Mhm.
drift. And they, of course, everybody around here is always packing. We always have either a sidearm or a rifle in the truck. And I know of people who've gotten tickets from doing that,
Yeah,
hunting out a season. How are you hunting out a season if the animal ran out in front of you and you just smashed the whole front end of your vehicle in or your fender or whatever, and you're just trying to do the humane thing, not let that animal suffer anymore. It's crazy the way some things happen. And I'm not saying all things, but some things happen that way, and it's just unfortunate that the people with that type of authority doesn't have a little better common sense.
well, and when it's a game animal, if you can get the wildlife and fisheries to answer your call, then that's the best way, because the police aren't always gonna, you know, tell you the same thing. There's
Correct.
been people that's hit deer and they've called in the 1-800 line, the hotline, and they get an agent on the phone and he says, "Give me your location, doe or buck. What is it? What happened? Okay, is the animal off the roadside? Yes." And then they'll say, if you can take care of the animal yourself, you can keep it. That's fine, you know. And then
Yeah,
other
they
times they'll say, "Stay there. We're coming out."
Yeah, but this is my problem with calling the agent, and then they say, "Well, we'll be right there." Sometimes it takes 20 minutes where I'm at to get there,
More than
so
that.
that animal's going to sit there and suffer for 20
Mhm.
minutes before
Right.
before
Right.
you get there. That ain't cool.
No.
They passed a law, I think, finally here in Idaho that if you do hit an animal on the road, I think you're allowed to take it home. There for a long time, uh, all of my teenage years and my 20s, here in Idaho, you were not allowed to take the animal home. So what you were supposed to do was call the fishing game, and then they'd send they'd send somebody out and they would tell you, "Oh yeah, we'll pick it up and then we'll go give it to, a family in need." Never happened. Never happened. Um, Maybe once in a great while. I would drive back by a day or two later and there's the animal still laying on the side of the road. Now it's all bloated and completely wasted. Um, so, I again, it's common sense. Um, I'm not going to purposely go out with my $60,000 vehicle and hit animals to put meat in my freezer. So if I've done that, it's definitely by accident. The animal ran out in front of me, and I should be able to take that home because hell, you figure nowadays you hit an animal, it's going to cost you anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 to fix your vehicle. That's
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 right.
pretty
That's right.
pretty expensive meat in the freezer. I think I would
Mhm.
rather just go buy the beef from the store. It'd be a hell of a lot cheaper if you do the math on that. By the time by the time you actually get any meat off the animal, because once you hit it, a lot of that meat's ruined,
Ruined.
right? It's thrown down the highway. It's got road rash. It's bloodshot from the impact, which ruins the meat. So you might get maybe 40 pounds or so out of a deer, maybe if you're lucky, almost 100 pounds out of an elk. Well, you do the math on 40 pounds of meat versus $3,000 worth of damage. That's pretty expensive
It's
meat.
not a good trade-off, is it?
No, no,
It's not
better
worth
just
it.
to go buy the beef from the store, five
Well,
dollars a pound.
if you hit an elk, I don't think you. I think you're way over $3,000 damage. If you hit an elk,
Last The only elk I've ever hit cost me $7,000.
that's a
So
big
I
animal.
was I was running a project 2 hours from my house. I drive back and forth every day. I had a company truck. It was I think it was a 2008 Chevy Duramax. Usually I'd leave about 3:30 in the morning here in my little town and get to the job site by 5:30 and get the guys going. And I got probably 20 minutes from the house, through a little I don't know, like a little valley. And doing about the speed limit was 65. I was doing 65, and I come around a corner, and there was a cow elk standing right on the side of the road, and she stepped out in front of me, and I didn't even have time to hit the brakes. I hit her. Head on, 65 mile an hour. What I was thankful for was that she didn't roll up over my hood and come through my windshield, or I'd
I
have
was
been
just
dead.
about to ask that question.
I'd have been dead. So I hit her. I hit her square broadside with the nose of the truck, and the impact from that elk, it pushed her. It pushed her over 100 yards down the highway. It pushed her down the highway and across the highway, and on the other side of the highway, I hit her so hard. Um, it completely destroyed the front end of my truck. And by the time it took them, I don't know, it was like 5 weeks to repair the truck. I think it ended up costing us 7 or 8 grand to fix it. That elk was still alive. Being a company vehicle, I didn't carry a weapon in the truck. All I had was a knife, and she was suffering really bad. And so I went and took care of it. You
Right.
know, the best that I could. I won't say how I did it. I just took care of it. And
Yeah, I
then,
know what you did.
yeah, and then I obviously I called the police, and they showed up, and I had my truck off the highway. It was right on a corner too. It was lucky that I didn't hit that, push it into another oncoming vehicle coming at me, and then the two of us collided. So I was very thankful that morning at I don't know, it must have been about a quarter to 4 in the morning, and hitting that elk had to have weighed probably about 650 pounds or so, maybe a little more when I hit her. Yeah, it's not something that you want to uh, share your first cup of coffee with in the morning as you're traveling to work.
That's not a good day to start your. Not a good
I
way
didn't
to
go.
start
I
your
didn't.
day off.
No,
Right.
I didn't go to work that
Right.
day. I
Mhm.
called in and said I'm not going to make it.
I mean, you could have got knocked off the road in the truck and also went up in the trees, or it really
Oh,
could have. There's just so many
so
things that could have happened. You
so
were
many.
actually lucky.
God had His hand on me because there were so
Yeah.
many things that could have happened. I could have not survived that, so
Mhm.
I was very thankful.
Yeah. Goodness.
I know some of the deputies around here have hit cattle as they're going to a call. There's an emergency, whether it's domestic violence or somebody had a heart attack or house is on fire or whatever. There's been some of the deputies around here that have hit cattle going at extreme speeds, and there's nothing left of the vehicle when they're done.
I can imagine that's another animal you do not want to hit. Is any kind of livestock. Uh, a horse would be a terrible thing to hit because
Yeah,
it's more likely it's coming through the window.
or moose.
Yeah.
I know people that have hit moose, and they're so tall, they got such long, tall, skinny legs that they come right over the hood of the vehicle and right through the windshield, and they don't survive.
Hmm. So, what about you, Mike? What do you have any hunts planned where you are coming up, or
I think I'm gonna go out and do a little bit of coyote hunting. I'm gonna go do a little coyote hunting if I can find my squawk box. I don't know where I put that thing, but I need to find it. I have a squawk box that I really like. Um, so I'll probably go do a couple of coyote hunts, and then I need to start practicing in my buddy's barn or something, and get ready for the spring turkey hunt. So those are the two main hunts that I'm going to be hopefully doing soon. And then I talked to Jesse the other day, and he's got dogs and everything. And I thought about trying to put together a mountain lion hunt with Jesse. Um, I got to go talk to him again, but that'd be fun.
yeah, it sounds like fun. Have you taken a buck this year? Or
No, I didn't even get a chance to go out.
is the season still open, or
There's some late hunts here, yeah.
Does your whitetail and your mule deer run the same dates, or?
Um, yeah, Dad and I was looking through the regulations on that, and they kind of overlap and run during the same time and everything.
Now, do you have to get tags for whitetail and muleys up there, or?
Yeah, two separate tags. You have to pick one or the other. So the whitetail are really pushing their way in down here. Dad and I were going to go whitetail hunting this year. Normally, if we wanted to go whitetail hunting, we'd go up north to the Canvas
Okay.
Prairie, up around Grangeville.
Mhm.
There's mostly whitetail up there, and then there was mostly mule deer down here in southern and South Idaho, and now it's they're everywhere.
Right. Well, mule deer is still a bucket list hunt for me. So hopefully one day I'll be able to go somewhere and get in on that.
We'll have you come out here to Idaho and we'll go hunt them. And yes, bee cats, you can eat wild turkey. Some people don't like it. I love it.
Wild
I don't.
turkey is incredible.
I think wild turkey is some of the best eating you can get. Some people don't like it. I don't know why, but Mom just threw mine in the oven, cooked it like a normal turkey, and it came out.
Hmm.
I couldn't really tell too much of a difference. To be honest with you.
Well, the next one I get, I'm going to cook in my infrared cooker, that Big Easy cooker. Have you seen one of those? It's made by Big Easy.
Oh, the big igloo
The Big
looking thing,
Easy.
or yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, that's what I cook my turkeys in for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and So what you do is you inject them. We inject them with seasoning.
Hmm.
Put a little stuffing in them, some of them, and then we coat the bird with olive oil, and then put a rub on it, and then drop it in. It's really easy. You put it in, you turn it on, and you just stick a thermometer in it, and it takes about 3 hours or so, sometimes less. But I want to do that with a wild turkey. I hadn't done that yet, so
I want to smoke my next turkey.
yeah.
I like smoking my turkey. It just puts a really good
Mm,
flavor in it.
it
And
does.
I did one for Thanksgiving. I'll probably do another one for Christmas. Well, I see Monty's in the chat too. So, and Bella, good morning. Lisa, good morning. Nancy, good morning. Monty, good morning. Um, so that was the Coyotes. I'm gonna bounce over to Trout now. I'm hopefully gonna get a trout fishing trip in to Island Park, Idaho / Henry's Fork. They got some amazing trout fishing over there. I got some photos I'm going to show you guys real quick, and then I got a video that I want to show you of ice fishing over at Henry's Fork, and so I'm going to plan a weekend trip where I can go over there and maybe do some fishing. But check some of these out. That's a nice looking fish right there, and this is all at the Henry's Fork. A lot of fly fishermen, but that's the kind of fishing that I want to go do. Probably roll in on snowmobiles, pull a toboggan behind me with my ice fishing tent, and all my ice fishing gear.
That looks like fun. Some
I'll
nice fish.
get you out of the house, get you out of the house for the winter. It's cold, but they got a lot of lodges, a lot of cabins, a lot of stuff around there to rent, so you're not sleeping in the car, which I've done before. It's not real fun. I don't see too many winter pictures. Here's one. That's what I'm going for. I want to catch a big fat trout like that.
What kind
Um,
is that one?
that looks like a rainbow to
A
me.
rainbow.
Yeah,
That's a nice fish.
it's a very nice fish. So let's check out the video I wanted to show you right here.
Why are dental companies lobbying to make this toothbrush illegal in the U.S.? This U.S. Army dentist built a
Oh, that ice is not very thick.
No.
The thing about ice fishing in Idaho versus North Dakota is a lot of these people don't need the ice houses or the tents. It's not cold enough.
And the ice isn't great, but we're still out here and we're still trying to catch some. So hopefully we can. I set up one rod with a worm on it, probably like 10 to 12 feet down. And then in my other hole, I was just jigging this green marabou jig, which I'll talk more about later in the video. In Idaho, you're allowed to have 5 rods per person set up. But honestly, the fishing was so good, I didn't really ever need to drill more than just the 2. Yeah, so now I'll let you watch the video. Thanks, guys.
So in North Dakota, when I'm ice fishing, it's like -30, -40.
Oh, man.
Doesn't feel very big. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, it's not bad.
So, Mike, what do you do if you catch a fish that's larger than the hole?
You got a problem.
You got a problem.
Look at that trout.
You know.
So they're on Henry's Lake right there.
Did he just let that fish go?
He just let that fish go.
Okay. So he's just having fun.
Yeah, so this is where I want to go after the holidays is over and go ice fishing.
On that lake?
On that lake. Yeah, that's the lake I want to go to. It looks like this might be a brown. Yeah. That's why they might be letting them go. You're not allowed to keep them.
Oh, okay.
That looks like it could be a brown.
There we go. Yep.
Man, they're catching these on jigs and worms. So I use live bait in North Dakota for the northern and for the walleye.
Mhm.
Feels like it. It's kind of hard to tell.
Oh, time for a commercial. Nope.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow, look at that one.
Look at that thing.
Dang.
That's a heck of a fish.
That's a rainbow. It's a
How many
nice
of those
fish.
are you allowed?
Man, I have to check regulations. Last I checked, I think we were allowed 6 a day.
And they have to be a certain length?
Again, I'd have to read the regulations on that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, up there at Henry's Fork, they might have their own regulations. I have no idea.
Right.
I just know a lot of people like to go up there in the wintertime and fish, and I want to be one of them.
Looks too cold for me, but if they were biting, I would be down for it.
Well, I've got so the wind's blowing. You can hear the wind blowing. They're freezing their asses off. But I have an ice tent, so I just drill my holes and put the tent over the hole, and I can sit there in a nice reclining chair with my poles and a cold beer and a heater and all that stuff.
What's the average rod length that you use for that?
They're about 24 inches.
Yeah, I was going to say that was not very long.
Yeah, they're very, very limber. And they in North Dakota, you're allowed 4 poles per person. So when he says 5 poles per person, that's because ice fishing sometimes is slow, but he's just using 1 pole.
Now, do you use monofilament or do you use braided line?
Sometimes I use the braided line. I also have flip ups too. So see, that's a brown. So you're not allowed to keep that. That almost looks like a cutthroat. See the little red under his chin there?
Yeah.
I have tip ups too. So you drill your hole in the ice, and then I have it. It's kind of like a mouse trap. It expands over the hole and it's got line on it. And then when the fish hits, a little flag pops up.
Right.
Oh, he's catching some fish today.
Now, do you use spin cast or bait cast reels?
I use spin
Spin
cast.
cast. Yeah. We call them hay balers.
Yeah, it's a nice fish.
It's really nice.
Man, that'd be nice in my frying pan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're gonna make it out of here alive. Tell my family I love them.
Anyway, that was a pretty good video there of them ice fishing. So that to get to that lake, I'm gonna have to drive probably about 7 hours. It'll be about a 7-hour trip for me to get there.
You know, it kind of
Roughly.
surprised me when he drilled into that ice so easily.
Yeah, with a hand, with a hand auger.
Yeah, I would be a little nervous.
That ice right there is probably about I don't know, maybe a foot thick, probably about 12 inches. You're not driving out there on that. Now the ice that I drilled through in North Dakota was around 4 feet thick, and I had to buy an 18-inch extending rod to go to my auger, because when you drill down through the ice, if you didn't have that 18-inch extender, you weren't getting through the ice. And we would drive trucks out there. People would take out their ice shanties, and some of them were, like a 22-foot RV is what it was, with no floor in it. And so the weight from the vehicle and from the ice shacks, you'd have to have 4 feet of ice or you're going through. So yeah, that out there, you're not driving anything on a foot of ice. There's just no way. Snowmobile, yes. Vehicle, no. I think it has to be about 24 inches thick before you can drive a vehicle on it. They have engineers. They have what they call ice engineers, that go out and test the ice in North Dakota and then let you know when the ice is safe to drive on it. And what they do is they get the thickness of the ice and they do some weird calculation, and they'll tell you if it's safe or not.
Oh, so they tell you when you can go on the ice.
Yeah.
So it's closed until it's until they
the fishing
verify
game will the fishing game will open it up. It's kind of like you've seen ice road truckers, where they have engineers out there that maintain that ice.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Yeah, we used to watch that show a lot when it first came out.
Yeah, I used to love that show too. My mom watches it all the time, but I used to love that show. But
me too.
There's the link if you guys want to join us in our fish conversation. But yeah, I'm planning that trip. There are a couple of high mountain lakes that we have here locally, real close to me, and I've talked about this before. I'm going to try to plan a trip where I have one of my friends take me up with his machine and get me in real close to the lake. And then I want to snowshoe the rest of the way in and set up my camp and ice fish for a weekend up there by myself.
Now, Mike, do you use topo maps of the lake so you know what depth you're going to go fish in? You know, I mean, how do you know what depth of water you need to fish in? Or
well, the couple that I want to go to and snowshoe in, I fished those my entire life, so I kind of already know the terrain. The one at Henry's Fork, I've never fished it ever, so yeah, I'd have to have some kind of map. You heard him say at the beginning of the video that they were fishing around, I think it was 12 feet of water.
12 feet. Yeah.
Now in North Dakota, we were fishing between 14 and 20 feet of water. And how we determine that is we just drop a line down in there and then measure it and try to figure out exactly what the depth is that we're going to be at. it's a cold job sometimes doing that stuff.
They do make handheld depth finders you could stick in there.
Yeah, some of my friends up north in North Dakota, they actually had cameras,
Right.
waterproof cameras that was built just for ice fishing.
Mhm.
And they would drop the scope down and look around and see if there was any fish around. I'm like, man, isn't that like cheating?
It is.
Now I've chummed before. I've definitely chummed the fish before, but dropping the camera down there and trying to see if there's any fish around. Who's to say they'd be there, 15 minutes later anyway? Fish move around, so
Right.
I don't know. Everybody's got their way of doing stuff. And
Well,
this kid here,
it sounds like you know what to do on that lake, which is good, because that would be if I were to go up there and do that and I didn't have anyone with me. First thing, I wouldn't go on the lake. I would look out the lake. If I didn't see anybody, I'm not setting my foot on it. That's just me.
well, if there's nobody out there, first thing I do is drill a hole in the ice right close to the shore. That way, if I break through, I'm only going to be up to my kneecaps, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna test and see how thick the ice is. If it's at least 12 inches thick, I'm okay to walk out on it or even ride a snowmobile out on it. But I'd spot check it. I wouldn't just go with one hole. I would do quite a few holes along the shoreline just to make sure that it was consistently 12 inches thick, and then go out a little bit further, maybe make another hole, make sure that it still looks good. If there's people already out there going at it, I don't really worry about it too much. But I'll tell you one thing. Okay, so I told you guys earlier that the one thing I'm not really scared of much, but the one thing I really am scared of is being in the woods with no weapons in the middle of a wolf pack. That scares the hell out of me. The second thing that I can honestly admit to all of you right now that scares the hell out of me is driving on the ice.
Yeah.
Driving on the ice makes my ass pucker up so tight. It's a creepy feeling. That's all I can tell you. It's creepy. You hear any noise you hear freaks you out because you're on high alert. So when you drive out on the ice, it's just like that TV show, Ice Road Truckers. You have the ice engineers, but you also have speeds. You have speeds for a reason, because you can honestly create a wake under the ice, and that is not good.
Yeah.
So what freaks me out when I was ice fishing in North Dakota was I'd be driving out on the ice and I'd be driving like a freaking grandma, like super slow, paying attention to my surroundings, listening to everything in case I hear cracking and
drive
popping.
with your door open.
and these, excuse the French, but these assholes would come flying past me, like on the interstate, passing me, driving real fast in these big trucks. Of course, I was driving a big truck too. And all I could think about was, man, you guys are driving so fast, you're going to create a wake. It's going to pop up through the ice and then down I go, So, man, I can't tell you how creepy of a feeling it is to drive across a lake that is, 50, 60 feet deep or more in some places, and you're driving across the top of it in a vehicle. Most of my work trucks up there weighed at least 6,500 pounds or more, and I'm out there driving a 6,500 pound vehicle across the ice. Of course, the ice is 4 foot thick, but these other guys are just driving like a bat out of hell. Of course, half of them are half lit. They've been out there half a day on Saturday drinking beer all day long and taking shots to stay warm, and they don't care. So that's another very uncomfortable situation that I have been in that I don't like. I don't like driving on the ice, but I do it for the fishing.
Well, if I go with you on an ice fishing trip and we're walking out on the ice, I'm going to stay on bank, and I'm like, Mike, let me go through and check my tackle. Go on out there and take this rope, and that way, if you fall through the ice, I'll pull you back in. But yeah, see, that would, like you said earlier, that would be nerve-wracking for me just to walk on ice, because down here, when we do get ice, in a little puddle or something, we know not to step on it because you're going to fall through it,
Yeah.
just in a mud hole. uh, and yes, I've never been on ice that I could walk on other than a skating rink. That's the closest thing to ice I've been
Well,
on.
when you've got a consistent temperature of -30, -40 degrees,
Yeah.
it really doesn't take long for the ice to build up. Like I said, in North Dakota, the earliest I'd ever been ice fishing was the weekend of Thanksgiving because it was such a brutal cold winter that year. Um, the ice is safe to walk on. I just freak out. I just freak out when I get a 6,500 pound vehicle out there, and then there's multiple vehicles. And you got to realize, the last place I went ice fishing before I left North Dakota, there were over 200, and I mean this. This is no exaggeration. There were over 200 of us fishing in the same place in the ice. So you imagine, it looked like a little village. You can imagine how much traffic was going across there with all the vehicles, because those were all pull behind ice shacks. So every person out there had a truck pulling those ice shacks. Let's bring Hawkeye in real quick. They all pulled those out there. Some of us were running around with our side by sides on the ice, but I said, man, I probably make money if I just like drug out a little hot dog stand out there and sold beer,
Yeah.
cigarettes, shots of whiskey, and hot dogs all day long. I probably would have been a rich man. But welcome to the show, Hawkeye. How are you?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me at all?
Yep, hear you just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Hey, Hawkeye, how you been?
I've been good, man. How you doing, John?
Doing really good. Can't complain.
I'm here working, so I just thought I'd pop in for a second and see how you guys were doing. I love your ice fishing, Mike. And have you ever been out on the ice when it cracks and how loud it is?
I have heard popping and cracking, yes, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. That's all I
It
can
is.
tell you.
It
It's very
is.
uncomfortable. The first thing that happens is your ass cheeks slam together, and then your
Yeah.
toes want to curl around like a tree branch or something that's not even around.
Oh yeah.
It's a weird
Oh
feeling
yeah.
to have. And I've worked with idiots in the springtime during the breakup that get drunk. One kid had a little Toyota pickup, and he decided in the springtime at 2 o'clock in the morning when he was lit that he was going to drive across the lake, and he broke through the ice. He's lucky he survived and didn't go down with the truck, but he completely lost his Toyota pickup at the bottom of the lake.
When you were talking about selling stuff on the lake, making money, you
Yeah.
probably could also sell underwear.
Possible. Uh-oh, we lost Hawk. He dropped out. How thick does the ice have to be to drive a vehicle on it? Well, I personally won't even get on the ice unless it's at least 4 feet thick. So they have signs that they put in the ground on some of the ponds up there in North Dakota. And so what the sign will tell you is, if the ice is 12 inches thick, you're good to walk on it. Or I think it's 6 inches thick, you're good to walk on it. 12 inches thick, you're good to ride a snow machine on it. And I think small vehicles, 24 inches thick, but the big trucks and the ice shacks, I think they require somewhere around 3 feet thick. I'm not 100% sure on that. I just remember a couple of those signs that I used to fish those ponds, and I wouldn't go out on the ice unless I knew. Period.
Well, you see, you were talking about ice road truckers. For us down here in the South, when that show first came out, and we watched those big rigs go across that ice. And I used to drive 18 wheelers. Mm-hmm. When I watched those big rigs go over those ice, we were on the edge of our chairs, and I'm going, "Oh my gosh, what in the hell are they doing?" Because I've never seen that before. But you guys probably have. So as the show went on, a few years, it got easier to watch. But for a while, it was nerve-wracking just to watch that, especially someone like me that used to drive big trucks, and just imagining, what could happen. And then, you watch these guys going across with their door. He's got one hand on the door open. If the thing goes down, it's down out. And I'm going. So I made mention to my wife. I said, if I get back into trucking, I might go up there and try my hand at that. She goes, "Oh, hell no, you're not."
Oh, man. I'm telling you, just ice fishing alone, there's no way I could do ice road truckers. No way. I
No.
couldn't even ride shotgun. I couldn't even ride shotgun with those guys across that ice. I mean, you got to realize they're hauling like 40 tons.
I know.
40 tons is 80,000 pounds.
80,000. Well, they're hauling more
80,000
than that
pounds.
because they haul oversized stuff on that show.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
a lot of times, they're grossing over 80,000.
Yeah, over 80,000 pounds across the ice.
Yeah.
So again, they have engineers. They have ice engineers up there that engineer all that. They do the math to make sure that they're safe to do it, but that still doesn't account for the accidents. So,
Well, what if that ice
again,
engineer's having a bad day and his math is a little fuzzy?
if he's had a few too many to drink the night
Yeah,
before
like,
and his math
a
isn't
little
on,
fuzzy. Sorry.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. Ice fishing is about as far as I'm going to go. That's about all I will do. And it's still uncomfortable, but walking out on it and stuff, it's not so bad. It's the driving. It's the driving that drives me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to try it though. I mean, I'm not a total chicken, but I'm definitely going with someone that knows what they're doing, right? I mean, no one
Well,
should just go out on the ice if you don't know what you're doing.
you saw how nice those fish were that they were catching, and it gets you out of the house. It's a fun activity to do in the wintertime. It just I enjoy it.
Yeah, that alone would make me go out and do it.
Here, let me I want to pull another video up real quick. Let's watch another video real quick of ice fishing at Henry's Fork. This guy, he looks like he catches some nice ones too.
Usually showed up to Henry's. All right, Henry's Lake. It is 2:20 a.m. We decided to pull an all-nighter, kinda. At least driving all night. So we're gonna go out there, try and find the edge of the weed line, and see what we can do. Yeah, 2:20 a.m. Plenty of coffee in our system. Yeah, feeling good. Ready to go. All right, let's do it. It's 3:30 a.m. We are set up Henry's Lake. 2 dead sticks, Jake's getting.
See, they're in a tent. They got a tent.
See how we do. Jake hooked up. 3:30 a.m. Woo!
Ice fishing is a lot of night fishing too. A lot of people like to fish at night on the ice, which is even scarier because then you can't see anything when you hear the popping and the cracking.
Right.
Not terrible. Only been fishing for what, like 45 minutes? Oh, yeah, half hour. 3 fish already.
Oh wow, that's a nice rainbow.
Yeah.
Cutthroat. Woo!
Or cutthroat. He said that was a cutthroat. It looked like a rainbow.
Cutthroat. Cutbow. All right.
Oh, it is right under the chin. You see the little red mark under the chin?
Yeah.
That's cutthroat.
Oh, we got him that time. Third time's
See, they got a fish finder there that they pack around.
Yeah. I saw that. There you go.
Yeah, that's what I have. That's how I drill through the ice.
That looks like a 4-foot bit on there.
That ice wasn't that thick.
No.
That ice was not that thick.
I'd be heading to the bank.
When I drilled through the ice in North Dakota, I got an 18-inch extension onto that same auger, and I push it all the way through the ice, all the way to the motor. That's how thick the ice is in North Dakota. He barely pushed that through.
That wasn't much.
quarter mile to find the edge of the weeds where it drops off in the flat weed beds. And we've just been killing them all morning. Going back and forth between a tingler and just your jig heads with grubs and worm. So
See,
we
he's
stayed
got a
dry
bait cast
all morning.
Yeah.
It's freezing.
with a little bit longer rod.
We're coming out now, doing a little hole hopping. And
He's got a bass fishing rig, looks like.
marking one right now. Ooh. There we go.
There you go.
Jig off. Nice.
Wow, he didn't reel that in very much, did he?
No, well, you see the rod he has is a little stiffer rod, and you get a quicker hook set, and you can get that fish out of there quicker. Oh, he's got a left-handed reel.
Jig set up with a medium hot rod, 40-inch. And it, how do you like it?
Nice rod so far.
Nice. And I'm set up with a medium heavy 45-inch casting. Now I love it. Little tingler. So these are 16th ounce tinglers. One of my favorite colors. I'll show you how I rig up my worm. I use about a third. Slide it on one treble. And then loop it over a second so it hangs down.
Oh, wow. This is a whole new fishing for me right here. I've never fished this way on the ice.
Hmm.
About a 12-inch jig every time. You usually hit it when it stops.
It's not too cold that day.
I was just about to say, he didn't look like he's cold.
No, he doesn't look like he's cold.
Oh, it's a baby. Smallest one ever. It's a baby brookie. Bloop.
Well, they got brookies in there too, cutthroat and
There we
brookies.
go. Jig got hooked up. Started hole hopping and had some good success after the 10 o'clock lull. Feeling bigger? I like it.
See, I have a clam just like that, but mine is mine's blue, but I have that same tint.
What'd you say to it?
Look at that fish.
Please. Freezing up. Keep that tension on it.
Must be a big one.
Oh, yes. This ought to be a good fish.
That's going to be a big one.
Good size fish, man. Think so? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to do an intermission, set up the camera, and help you land it. I think it'll come out.
There he is.
It's okay, land it. Drag a little loose. There you go. Nice cut. There you go. Nice cut. Too bad of a fish. Nice
That's a good
fish. Nice cut. Nice average of the day. There you go. That is about
Pretty nice fish. And that's why I want to go to Henry's Fort.
That looks like a lot of fun. I could
Yeah.
do that if it wasn't that cold. I could probably deal with that amount of cold. It definitely, I'd like to get in that tent. Keep the wind
Yeah.
off of you.
I'm telling you, the tin is really warm. You could, on a day like that, you could sit in there in a t-shirt with your heater going. You could sit in there with your t-shirt fishing. It's
Yeah.
really not bad. D-Dog asked me how much ice did I catch. I catch a lot of ice when I go out ice fishing. That's for sure. A lot. Sometimes you fall down, bruise your ass. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. All right. Well, I'll drop the link if anybody wants to come up and tell a story or make a comment before we get out of here today. But I just thought I'd share that stuff with you guys. I thought coyote hunting coming up. It's pretty interesting how that's all done, and people, you know, just like anywhere, they hunt coyotes differently in different areas. But the ice fishing, I'm really looking forward to because I don't know why they're not catching those fish. I wonder if Henry's is a catch and release only. I don't know, but I'm definitely into catching trout, and ice fishing and is a lot of fun. You just have to get over your fear. Um, you just got to face it, and it's really it's a mind thing. It's a mind game with the ice.
Yeah,
I
like I
think.
said, if I went with someone that like you that knew what to do, then that part of the fear would be gone. Now I'm joking with you about the the other things, but seriously, if I went with someone who knew what they were doing, it's just like if you came down here and I took
I
you in
would
the marsh fishing, you wouldn't know where to
or
go.
hog hunting. I wouldn't go
Or
hog
hog
hunting
hunting.
by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a big hog hunter. I'm not, that's not something I just go do. Um, but there are a lot of people here that do that. And it's a lot of fun, especially when they hunt with dogs.
That I have to see with my own eyes.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I'm going to step down. I've got to get my day going. We're supposed to get some rain coming in. We have a big front coming through. We're going to get some rain. Then it's finally
Nice.
going to cool off here, and
So
it's
you can
going to
go
give me an
hunting.
opportunity to have some enjoyable hunts. Finally.
All right. Sounds
So,
good. Well, thanks for sharing your Saturday with me, John.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
always good to talk with you. So,
All right, brother. Take care. Good luck.
All right,
God
man.
bless.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
All right, folks. Well, I think we'll just go ahead and we'll go ahead and end it there. Thanks for joining us this Saturday. I hope we made it interesting for you. Maybe you learned something. Take something away from the show, whether it's coyote hunting or ice fishing. Um, if you've never had the opportunity to go out and ice fish, it is a fun, very fun activity to do. You just like he said, it's easier to go with somebody who's already done it and kind of knows the ropes. I know when I first went out, I didn't go just by myself one day. I went with a buddy of mine who'd been several times and knew how to do it. And he got his information from locals who do it year after year. And then, of course, once I got into it, I started making friends out on the ice, locals that taught me certain things and gave me tips on how to be a better ice fisherman. So it's just a really fun winter activity. It's something you can take your kids and grandkids out to do as well. As long as the ice is safe, there's no reason why you can't. Um, it's just a fun activity. You see these guys here in Idaho. It's not so brutal cold, so they're outside the tent. They don't even have beanies on. Their ears aren't cold. They're not even wearing gloves, so it's not that cold. North Dakota, it's a totally different world. It is brutal, brutal ass cold. A lot of people in their shacks, but some of them fish outside the tent or the shack, and some of them don't have the money to buy that stuff, so they go out on the ice and fish anyway. And those are the true diehards. So anyway, love y'all. Have a great Saturday. We'll see you back this evening, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on LWN on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All right. See you guys. Have a great